Hello, and welcome to Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. I am still in my little makeshift filming area while I'm waiting for my new studio to be built. You guys have been so kind and so patient with this temporary little setup here. Some of you even were like, oh, don't worry about it, don't film, take a break. And I don't want to. I like to turn out content for you guys. So I'm turning it out even though aesthetically we could do better. You guys know how it is when you're moving. Like, it's just chaos. My life, you should just see the rest of this room. Just boxes, bins, crap everywhere. And I am not really a keeper of things. If I have something I haven't used in 6 months, I throw it out. But I still got a lot of crap. I hope you are ready for this one. I have been following this story for a while. Not really in the media. No, as most of you know, my husband and I lived in Las Vegas for quite a few years, and I actually have met this person at the heart of today's story. I'm a professional singer. I did a lot of performing in Las Vegas, and that means I run in circles where there are some interesting characters. I've actually met this person twice with two different women. This man worked as a professional gigolo in Las Vegas, and for many women, he is the picture of manliness. He's not my type, but he is very muscular. He is very coiffed. He is very manicured and manscaped. And he was very much in high demand in Las Vegas. I find this story fascinating because, hello, what's not fascinating about the world of gigolos in Las Vegas? But also because this man's entire persona was built around him being spiritual, about him being zen and peaceful. Now, you know that I have a bone to pick with a lot of spiritual gurus. Bone was probably not the best term. Why do I have an issue with some of these people? Well, according to them, it's because I'm evil and I'm jealous and I'm hateful. But according to me, and most of you, spiritual gurus are very often predators who take advantage of people that are seeking guidance. They are con artists, they are shysters, and no different than the TV preachers that take money from people that don't have it. This is a newer story, and one that kind of just popped up and reminded me that I hadn't covered it yet because the man at the center of it has just made another legal filing. So ladies and gays, get out your fans. Fellas, you might want to take notes. This is the story of Ash Armand, one of the most in-demand gigolos in Las Vegas. I'm your host, Stacy Lee. Let's get into it. Our story begins about 15 years ago with the creation of a company called Cowboys for Angels. What is Cowboys for Angels, you might ask? Oh, it's just a gigolo service in Las Vegas. It's a gigolo service that provides dates for women who are seeking male companionship. This is a founder. He's a man named Garen James. He's the CEO. And he states that back in 2009, he was speaking with his then girlfriend who was working as an escort in Las Vegas. And Garen learned that there was no services that existed like hers for women looking for men. So Garen created Cowboys for Angels. Cowboys for Angels has the mission of catering to female clients, what women want, what's important to them, what makes them happy, and what is fun to them. Garen claims this is a very elite service. The men must be over 21, but he finds the most successful gigolos are between 25 and 32. They must be straight, 100% straight, and they must have the look, the gigolo look. Garen claims that he has a reputation as the CEO of Cowboys for Angels of turning away 95% of the applicants, men who want to become gigolos. He only takes 5% of the men who apply. It's very elite. As you can see here, there are cowboys in most major cities, but the lists in Vegas and South Florida are the longest. You have to have the most to choose from there, ladies. On the website, there is a profile for each of the cowboys for rent. What? I'm genuinely asking, what's the word? For dates? Cowboys for Angels has been featured on shows like Tyra Banks and Dr. Phil, but the big deal was the TV show that they got. Apparently on Showtime, there was a TV show called Gigolos. It started in 2011 and it ended in 2016, and it featured, the TV show revolved around Cowboys for Angels, stationed and headquartered out of Las Vegas, stationed, they're the military. Part of the reason that the show was canceled is it started to be a very controversial issue. There was a lot of controversy about how healthy it is to buy sex for money, and then one of the showrunners was involved in some sort of a sexual scandal themselves, so it kind of spelled out the death of the show. Escort services are legal in Nevada. Sex for money is not legal in all of Nevada. I think there's a big misconception about that. Nevada has 4 counties where prostitution, sex for money, is legal. If you guys ever want to hear about the brothel world, it is a fascinating world. It really is. All sex for money that's legal in Nevada has to take place in a brothel. There's no street prostitution. The brothel world is something I have been fascinated with for years. The way those brothels are run, it is, if you want to hear more about it, let me know. I auditioned for and was chosen to be the lead singer in this very, very popular country band that's been performing in Las Vegas for like 30 years. One of the places that we would play a lot when we were not in Las Vegas was in one of the little towns with a brothel. But in Las Vegas, it is illegal to pay for sex. You can, however, hire an escort. If sex happens, it's because the two people felt a connection. No money is exchanged for the sex, just for the date. That's how they get around it. It's really pretty simple. I mean, sex is definitely happening on, I think, most of the dates, but they're not paying for that part. So each one of the Cowboys has a profile on the website that tells you all about the man. Let's take Zane here, for example. Zane brings the rugged bad boy look while being the classy gentleman you've always desired. He is one of Australia's hottest exports ladies, and he is well versed in travel. And then, of course, you have all these photos of Zane, and you can go through and pick which guy you want to have a date with. Well, there is one profile that you will no longer find on the Cowboys for Angels website. That is the profile of Akshaya Kubiak. And he is something, let me tell you. Akshaya was a very spiritual person. Born in India, raised in a couple of different places. He has kind of a strange accent that I can't quite place, but he was into yoga and meditation and singing bowls and incense and, anything new age. There are lots and lots of photos online of Akshaya. His Instagram is now private. When I started writing this episode about 10 days ago, I requested to follow him on Instagram, and I never got my request responded to. So I couldn't pull photos right from his Instagram, but I think his parents still run it, and I'll tell you why I think that later on. He has about 70,000 followers, and in his bio, there is a link to a GoFundMe. We're going to get into that. So Garen James, the CEO of Cowboys for Angels, is always looking for new escorts. And to do that, I guess he spends a lot of time on Instagram scrolling through like Instagram models pages. He sees Akshaya and he instantly is like, I have to have this guy for my agency. So Akshaya and Garen get together and they have a meeting, and Garen hires him on the spot. He claims that Akshaya has this very calm persona, very soft-spoken, very zen-like, and of course, for a lot of people, this is, the epitome of attractiveness. Akshaya accepts the invitation to the agency and he immediately becomes like top dog. He is pulling down all kinds of money. He's doing 3 to 5 dates a week. He is in high demand. Then when Showtime starts the show, it starts in 2011. In 2012, they introduce Akshaya, but he has changed his name to Ash Armand, and he is the hot new guy on the TV show in 2012. Now, living in Vegas and working in Vegas for all the years that I have, I can tell you there aren't a lot of celebrities that live in Las Vegas. A lot of celebrities visit Las Vegas, maybe they have a place there, but if you're a celebrity in Las Vegas, you can become a really big deal if you live there, if you're a local celebrity. When I think of local celebrities in Las Vegas, I think of like the guy that owns Counts Customs cars. I think of like Vince Neil, he's lived there for a long time. But surprisingly, Vegas does not have a lot of celebrities that live there. Ash became a celebrity. Women were just salivating over this guy who's like muscled and tan. He has some tattoos. But on top of that, he's really spiritual and soft-spoken and kind and has this very genteel persona. On top of that, Ash is actually a licensed massage therapist. Now that I could get into. I love me a good massage. Now I'm just thinking about a massage. On Ash's bio, it talks about, how good he is with his hands. He's really good at massage. He loves animals. He loves women. He loves nature. He loves the earth. But what he loves most of all is making women feel special. Ash is now working in the escort service. He's getting paid for being on the TV show. He's raking in the dough. When he gets on the TV show, he is front and center. He's among the top few gigolos in the company. He's appearing on the Showtime series. He's in all the promo photos, and this makes him even more famous. My question is, doesn't being famous in Vegas make being a gigolo more difficult? I'm thinking that if I'm a woman and I'm going to hire someone to be my boyfriend for the night and take them out, I don't want everyone to know that I've had to hire a boyfriend. Or maybe I have it completely wrong. Maybe it's a status symbol to be able to hire a gigolo. I truly don't know. Maybe it's kind of a big deal to take out the hottest gigolo and, kind of flash him around. I have the kind of money to go on a date with this guy. I don't know. So Ash Armand, newly named, is living in Las Vegas and soaking up all the fame and all the attention. And then he starts a YouTube channel. He starts this YouTube channel and it immediately gets 70,000 subs. It's fine. It's fine. I've just been here for 4 years, working 60 hours a week, churning out 2 episodes a week, just climbing by my nails slowly. It's okay. It's okay that some guy just makes juice and does push-ups and has 70,000 followers right off the bat. It's fine. It's fine. It's everything here is fine. I'm great. 10 videos making juice and doing push-ups with his shirt off, and he's got 3 times the amount of followers. I'm fine with it. I have never been more fine with anything. Anyway, he starts dating this gal that is very famous in Vegas as an Instagram model. Her name is Toochi Kash. That's what she goes by anyway. Toochi is a Vegas influencer. She's very muscular. She's very in shape. She's, very made up all the time. She's very much what I would consider quintessential Vegas life, Vegas. I've never met Toochi Kash. I did not run in those circles apparently, but apparently she's very well known. This is a world that I have always brushed up against. The very shiny plastic world of Las Vegas, the beautiful people, but I'm in the dive bar scene end of it. I'm where they come after they leave the clubs. I'm maybe where they come after they've lost the shine a little bit. And I'm good with that. I am much happier in a dive bar in a dirty little hole than I am in a club. That's not me. I like the dank. I like the dark and the dank. So when Ash Armand and Toochi Kash hook up and start dating, it's like a really big deal in Vegas. They're a power couple. Toochi is actually more famous than Ash at that point in time. She has a lot of followers, she had a lot of brand deals, and she is a big deal in Vegas, I guess. Toochi was paying for Ash to go on trips with her. She travels a lot, she's doing the yacht Instagram thing a lot, and she was taking Ash along for the ride. So Ash and Toochi date for about 2 years, and it's a pretty serious relationship, but what people do not know is that behind the scenes, it is a very toxic and problematic relationship. Now, make sure you're sitting down. If you have a heart condition, you may want to turn this off because I'm going to say something really shocking. Try to contain your gasps. Ash Armand is not actually Zen or spiritual or peaceful or kind. I know. You're dying of shock right now. Try to contain your disbelief that this man, a sex worker in Las Vegas, is not actually spiritual or Zen. Ash apparently is very possessive. He's very jealous. He's very insecure. He has a big ego, and he is not this peaceful Zen guy. He is not good to Toochi. One day, Garen James sees this different side of Ash in this kind of strange interaction. Garen goes to work on a photo shoot that he kind of set up, and Toochi Kash is one of the models. So he takes a few snapshots with his phone, and later on he sees Ash, and he's like, hey, look at these gorgeous photos that Toochi took earlier. And he says Ash's face, like the color drained out of his face. He's like, you were on a photo shoot with my girlfriend? And Garen was like, well, yeah, I set it up. And apparently this made Ash so angry that Garen was there with Toochi while she was like provocatively dressed. Garen says that Ash turns around on his heels and like storms off. Well, Garen then starts to talk to Toochi about Ash, and she kind of spills it, that he is jealous, he's possessive, and she thinks he might even be dangerous. Toochi Kash ends up breaking up with Ash, and he is absolutely devastated. She was so famous, and that's all he'd ever wanted. He could not get over the fact that she had dumped him. People that know Ash Armand say that he was never the same after Toochi broke up with him. It was really a life-changing event for him, and he changed after that. Because I guess that he thought a relationship between two Las Vegas sex workers was forever. I'm such a bitch. Look, everyone deserves love. I hope everyone finds love and is happy with someone. After Toochi breaks up with Ash, she starts dating this guy named Rex. And soon, Rex starts getting threatening text messages from Ash. In one of those text messages, Ash actually threatens to have Rex killed. Rex goes to Garen James and shares the text messages sent from Ash, and Garen is like, this is scary. This is dangerous. Garen is already upset with Ash because he has been missing appointments. He books appointments online with clients, even clients that he had seen before, and then he doesn't show up. And in 1 week, he missed 3 appointments in a week, and Garen was like, that combined with the fact that he's sending these scary text messages, he's thinking about his company. Like, what if this guy is dangerous? He fires Ash. So within a very short amount of time, Ash gets dumped by his famous girlfriend. He loses his job at the agency, and then the TV show gets canceled. That was really the nail in the coffin for Ash Armand, and he starts to spiral. He's now pushing 40. He's a has-been from a reality TV show that not many people watched. He's no longer dating this big famous influencer. And he was like, what is my life anymore? I'm Ash Armand. Who are these people? He told Garen James, he was like, I'm Ash Armand. You can't fire me. And Garen James was like, well, I just did. So Ash does kind of what I think is typical of a lot of guys that start to age out of this kind of thing. He starts doing steroids because, it's hard to maintain that muscle mass when you're not 22 years old anymore. He's drinking a lot. He's partying a lot. He's doing drugs. He's doing a lot of MDMA. He's doing a lot of, snow, things like that. Ash kind of becomes, among a certain group of people, a little bit of a joke. He's that guy that comes to the party, he gets a little too drunk, he stays a little too long, and he just kind of ends up being a joke. Ash gets that stench of being washed up on him, and he starts to look washed up. So what does he do? Again, I think this is kind of typical. He starts posting more and more scandalous photos. They go from like him lounging back with his shirt off to him like legs open, grabbing things, pants down around the hips, as far down as they'll go without being explicit. And then he starts to post some explicit things as well. I don't think there was OnlyFans back then. I'm not sure. But his photos are barely passing the Instagram guidelines. And that was back then when Instagram wasn't as strict as it is now. When Ash gets fired, he tells Garen James, I'm going to open my own agency. And Garen reports that, he wasn't really that worried. So Ash gets on his Instagram and he makes a post that he has started his own agency and he's going to start booking appointments that March and April. About this same time, he started upping the dose of steroids that he was on as well. And he was still taking drugs and drinking at this point in time. Then he found mushrooms and started to get really, really into the world of mushrooms. As if things are not going bad enough for Ash Armand, the comments on his social media change. The women who used to be like drooling over him are now saying, you looked better before. You look old. You look tired. Some of the comments are even just straight up gross. Ash sees this feedback. He realizes the steroids are probably taking him a little too far over the top. He decides to chill on that a little bit, and he kind of goes back to his roots of being a spiritual creator. If all else fails, go back to God or the universe, because that's how you really sucker people in. For a moment, it seems like Ash might actually pull it off. He seems like he's starting to do better. But if he had pulled it off and really had started to do better, I wouldn't be sitting here telling you this story. Ash begins a podcast and he gets back to posting motivational quotes, spiritual quotes, pictures of him meditating, lots and lots of Buddha, lots and lots of Zen. He's talking about healing yourself, fighting your demons, or dealing with your demons in a healthy way. And then he begins to date this woman named Tia Evans. Tia is an Instagram model and an adult content creator. She's got about 300,000 followers on Instagram now. I'm not sure about 5 years ago. Tia had known Ash for a while. She'd known him all throughout his relationship with Toochi Kash. When Tia heard that Ash and Toochi broke up, Tia sent Ash a DM asking him out. And Ash said, yeah, I'd love to go get a drink with you. So they start dating. They're dating for a couple of months. Things get more serious. And Ash asks Tia if she just wants to move in with him. And she says yes. Tia says one day they were having a conversation and she said to Ash, eventually you're going to have to stop being a gigolo. This isn't something you can do forever. And, he says, I know. And she says, well, what are your plans? What are you going to do? And he said, well, I am a really good massage therapist and I can make a good living at that. And she says, I think that's a great idea. And he says, I want to get back into spirituality. I want to heal myself. I want to get back into helping other people heal themselves. They even talk about Ash maybe opening his own massage parlor. But in the meantime, he puts out some posts about the fact that he is accepting clients that need spiritual healing. This is the guy. This is the guy that's going to heal you spiritually. So I said earlier that Ash had started getting into mushrooms. At this point, he is kind of obsessed. He's reading everything he can get his hands on. This is kind of when mushrooms were really starting to get big. And I'm a believer. I have witnessed with my own eyeballs people that are going through very serious religious trauma and having some of the most serious mental crises I've ever seen heal themselves with microdosing. I've seen that with my own eyes. I microdosed for 2 weeks. The only reason I really stopped is because I'm already on a bunch of medication for my disease and it was just one more thing to take, but I actually want to try it again. So I'm a believer in mushrooms. I think they can do a lot of good when taken in microdoses. We have a big center here in St. George that does ketamine treatments for depression, and I've seen miraculous things there too. Not all drugs are bad. It's just, how you take them. So it's now 2020. It is spring of 2020. We are right in the thick of the pandy. You have to be careful what you say here on this platform. Everybody is stuck at home. And if you think the world shut down, Vegas was like the apocalypse. Driving in downtown Las Vegas during those early days, it was otherworldly. It literally felt like a zombie apocalypse movie. Everything was shut down. Jason and I lost so many of our favorite little hole-in-the-wall mom and pop places that just could not survive. It makes me so sad. But just like the rest of us, Ash is stuck at home. There's no gigoloing. There's no nightclubbing. There's no partying. The whole lifestyle in Vegas that revolves around that, it was just done. So he's watching all of these documentaries on mushrooms and he's taking a lot of mushrooms, but he's not microdosing. He's doing mushrooms. He's tripping. So now we've got a guy who is using steroids. He's drinking. He's using MDMA. He's using mushrooms, massive amounts of mushrooms. It's a runaway train. It's a literal recipe for disaster. Ash has made these posts about looking for clients that he wants to help with their spiritual healing. And he gets a message from a woman named Herleen Dulai. Herleen was born in 1991 in Northern California, and that's where she spent most of her life. She graduated from Temple University with a degree in biology, and then she moved to Las Vegas. Herleen was experiencing kind of a tough time, and she wanted to leave college and kind of start over somewhere, and she picked Vegas. Herleen was working out at a gym. It kind of became her family there. She wanted to lose weight. She had put on some weight in college, and she started at this gym, and she was like very dedicated. The gym was her whole life. She lost 40 pounds in a month. So she's working out, she's eating healthy, and she decides, I want to, get more spiritual. And she sees Ash's posts on Instagram, and so she messages him. Herleen really seemed to be looking for a guru, a leader of some kind. She was in need of help. She was. For me, anyone that claims to be a leader or a guru of any kind, I don't care if it's in a hotel ballroom telling me what to do with my money or how to be more spiritual or how to find God, I literally just turn and run the other way. I think anyone that claims they can do for you what they've done for themselves is not being truthful, and I also think that they're there to take your money. They might be there to help too. I do know some people that are involved in MLMs and things like that I think do have good products. It's just not for me. That's why I like to talk about things like this. I feel a responsibility, especially someone being from Utah, that, that's kind of we're the headquarters of MLM and self-help gurus and things like that. I just feel like with a bit of an audience, I kind of have a responsibility to warn people about this. Herleen was 26 years old and she just wasn't very happy with herself. She had graduated from college, but she was heavier than she wanted to be. She didn't feel as healthy as she wanted to be, so she was working on that. Now, losing 40 pounds in a month is a lot of weight. Of course, I'm looking back when I was 25 years old, I could drop 10 pounds in a week, and that's basically what she did. Now, 10 pounds takes a village, a truckload of prescriptions, a gaggle of doctors. Losing weight that fast is not really sustainable, and it turned out not to be for Herleen either, but she was working really hard. People describe Herleen as very soft-spoken, very sweet, very insecure, somebody that seemed a little lost. Then the people in Herleen's life, in this little group of friends she had cultivated at the gym, found out something very shocking about Herleen, and that was that she was battling cancer. She had been battling cancer since she was a teenager. I think I even read one article that said as a child, I don't know what age exactly, but she was a cancer survivor. So the weight gain wasn't just from the fact that she had, put on a few pounds in college. She was sick again. And yeah, if there's one thing I've learned really disappointingly, it's that when you get sick, not a lot of people care that you're sick, but they will sure point out the fact that you've put on some weight. 3 years ago, my kids were pushing me around Disney World in a wheelchair. I'm doing much better now, but it's just amazing to me, the comments of friends of mine. Oh, you used to be so teeny. Oh, you used to have a square jawline. And I was just like, wow, I'm fighting for my life here. I'm like fighting for my will to live and to keep fighting this. And all you can focus on is the fact that I've gained a few pounds. Like, great. Moral of the story, if you're sick, I see you and I know what you're going through. So people in Herleen's life are very shocked to find out that she is still battling cancer. Not only that, she's done this amazing transformation. She's lost all this weight and she's working out while being sick. So Herleen connects with Ash and it turns out to be the worst possible thing ever. She stops going to the gym. She starts to put her weight back on. She's staying at home all day. I don't know if the gyms were even open, but they were having outdoor workouts and things around here in this part of the world where, you can work out outside all year long. But everyone noticed Herleen wasn't there. They'd call, she didn't answer. They'd stop by and knock on the door. She didn't come to the door. But she was spending a lot of time alone with Ash and they were doing a lot of mushrooms. Ash tells Herleen that he wants to come here to Utah, to Zion National Park, which is about 40 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. Zion National Park is a beautiful place that has sadly been discovered by the rest of the world. I'm very happy for people that get to go see it. I'm very sad for us locals because it used to be somewhere we would drive and have a picnic on Saturday. And now I don't love going there anymore because it's so crowded. But it is definitely a place that makes you feel connected to nature and the earth. You feel very small, but very connected while you're there. Ash and Herleen take all kinds of pictures there. They post them on their social medias. I guess while they're on this trip together, Herleen tells Ash that she thinks he is this amazing healer, that he's got this incredible gift to heal people. And she tells Ash that he has healed her. And this really instills this new confidence in Ash. So it kind of seems like, at least in the beginning, they were helping each other. But when they get back from Utah, it's just right back to like all the mushrooms. Ash continues to tell his girlfriend Tia that the relationship is not sexual in nature. I don't know if she believed him or not. Ash is telling Tia that he's on a journey. And Tia's like, well, he was on a journey, all right, but I don't think it was spiritual. Tia watches as Ash gets more and more irrational, and she really starts to worry about him. At this point in time, Ash is like 4 years of steroid use, drinking, and drugs. Tia later tells people that Ash was having really bad trips. He would have really bad dreams about people being disguised as the devil, and people around him were trying to pull him into the underworld and ruin his journey and ruin his life. On July 15th, 2020, Tia gets a text from Ash and she's stunned. Ash tells Tia that she is not in alignment with his journey and that he no longer wants to see her. She's shocked. She says, we've been having a great time together. Where did this come from? And Ash is just like, we are not in alignment. I don't want to see you anymore. Ash then tells this woman, your whole life is going to fall down around you. And I don't care who you are. That is a really shitty thing to say to somebody. Tia says that Ash doesn't even sound like himself. She realizes that he has gone completely off the deep end. And there was part of her that was relieved, to be away from him because he was not well. Ash then decides to go after Rex again. Rex and Toochi, they're still dating at this point in time. And Rex starts to get these text messages from Ash and basically tells him, let's meet and we'll fight. He tells him to drop him a pin so they can fight. I don't know what world these people live in where two grown men drop me a pin so I can fist fight. Yeah. So now Tia has decided she's going to block Ash on all social media. He gets in this fight with this guy over text message, and he starts to kind of feel like he's alone again. He's losing everybody around him. Well, Tia had gotten away, but not even she was prepared for how badly things were going to go. A call comes into 911 dispatch in Las Vegas. The caller is Ash Armand, and he is on the line telling the dispatcher that he needs police and he needs an ambulance. The dispatcher is trying to get information out of Ash, but he's rambling about how he left this reality and went into another reality. And his friend needs help because when he was in another reality, he did something. The police arrive at the location, and it turns out to be Herleen's house. They find Ash administering CPR to Herleen, and she is barely recognizable as a person. The first cop gets there, he pulls Ash away from Herleen, he handcuffs him, and he puts him in his cruiser. He goes to Herleen, the EMTs start to arrive, and she is dead. Ash Armand then admits to the first cop that arrives on the scene that he killed Herleen. So all over Las Vegas, word spreads that Ash Armand has been arrested for killing his girlfriend, and people assume that's Tia. Tia's phone starts blowing up, her DMs on Instagram, her messenger, everything is going crazy on her phone. She's having to text back. She said like 800 people. She had that many messages, and she had to let everybody know, I'm alive, it's not me. About the same time, the owner of the gym that Herleen used to go to all the time, that she was friends with, starts getting messages. One of the trainers at the gym calls the owner, and she's hysterical, and she says Herleen is dead. She's been murdered. So the cops take Ash to the police station, and that's when he changes his story and says that Herleen's death was an accident. He said they were both taking mushrooms, they were very, very out of it, and she died. Well, an accident would be she tripped over something, she hit her head, she got cut, something like that. That's not what happened to Herleen. Herleen had been beaten so badly that she had multiple fatal injuries. She had teeth broken off that were in her stomach. She swallowed her own teeth. There wasn't an inch of her skull that wasn't battered, bruised, or fractured. Her jaw was completely shattered. I believe the word that was in the coroner's report was pulverized. Her jaw was pulverized. Herleen had also been strangled. This was not an accident. It was murder, pure and simple, and initially Ash is charged with murder. The charge was then reduced to manslaughter and mayhem. Ash went on trial, and he ended up getting 8 to 25 years. I don't know why. I don't think 8 to 25 years sounds like enough for murder, but if they reduce the charge to manslaughter, that does seem more in the guidelines. Ash's family spoke to the judge during sentencing, and they begged the judge for mercy, stating that Ash is a person steeped in the philosophies of the East and West, that he's a good person. And I thought, well, I'm sure this has been really hard on his family, but here's where the GoFundMe comes in. Remember, I spoke earlier about that GoFundMe I saw on his Instagram page. I clicked on the GoFundMe and read what his parents wrote, and then my mind changed because they're claiming that he's in jail for an accident, that the young woman died accidentally, and that made me really angry because that tells me that his parents haven't accepted responsibility for what he's done, and they're still putting out a false narrative about Herleen's death, and that makes me angry. Luckily, they did not reach their goal, and on GoFundMe, if you don't reach your goal, GoFundMe shuts down the GoFundMe, and they did. They were trying to raise like $30,000 or something for his legal defense. Herleen's brother has talked to the press, and he said, it's just really sad that she beat cancer, childhood cancer, only to die at the hands of this maniac. As of now, Ash Armand is sitting in the Southern Desert Correctional Center in Las Vegas. I found a very recent pleading of his, and that kind of reminded me about this whole story. I think I also saw something, I think one of the news magazines might have covered this recently. I'm not sure, but when I saw this pleading, it came up on a Google Alerts thing that I have. He has filed basically stating that he wants a reduced charge. The judge not only denies his petition, but then writes a lengthy opinion about Herleen's injuries, about how bad they were, about what she suffered, about her loss of life, about the loss of, her future, and the judge kind of chastises Ash in this opinion. If Ash does about what I think he'll do, this is a first and only offense. If he's good in prison and doesn't get into any trouble, I think he could do as little as 10 years, maybe 12 years. He'll still be a very young man when he gets out of prison. He will still be a very well-known person in Las Vegas. And I guess the question is, what is he going to do then? Will he continue to peddle bullshit? Or will he have a true awakening in prison? A true awakening would require that Ash Armand accept responsibility for the death of Herleen. Thank you for joining me today on Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee in our little pretend studio. I feel like we're on a camping trip together. I sure appreciate you guys. I really look forward to every week when I post, I'm like, oh, I hope I hear from this person. I hope I hear from this person. I love our little community. I love our little family. It's growing. It is growing. And one of the things that I think is helping that and is going to help the community grow is the podcast. Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee is officially on Apple and Spotify. You know, I also have Dining with Death. Those episodes are just the audio taken from the video episodes. It's an archival series. I won't ever make new episodes of Dining with Death, the podcast, but I will be making new episodes for Dark Hearts. And even the episodes that I've covered here in video form are re-recorded with pristine audio for the best listening experience. So I would love it if you would check out the podcast. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook. I'm everywhere. And you can also join my Patreon. For a few dollars a month, it really does help me keep the videos coming. And you can also be part of our fundraiser. This is the thumbnail on my channel that will take you to the video that explains everything we are doing to raise money to donate to police departments that have cold case DNA in storage that's never been tested. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. We're going to be in the studio here in a couple of weeks. I'm excited for this next chapter. Stay safe, my friends, and be kind to each other. And I will see you next time on Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. Bye.